Ivan Bondokov is a multi-talent. He founded various marketing and tech startups, including a marketing agency. You can see when you watch the video here, doing his HubSpot t-shirt, and a couple of SaaS startups. One is very, very brand new. We will talk about this today. Welcome, Ivan, to the show.
Hi, Sebastian. Thank you for having me on your amazing podcast. I'm watching all the series, so it's really interesting, insightful, and pretty useful content, and it's great people. So thank you for being here with you.
Thanks for joining me. And you said, it's not about me, it's about the people. And we are currently doing so, interviewing amazing founders, amazing entrepreneurs from all around the world. I'm primarily in the tech business. And for me, it's been an amazing journey in the last months. I met so many interesting characters. I learned a lot from the metaverse, from AI, from all kinds of areas. I interviewed a guy from well-known specialist in cybersecurity, which will be released soon. So it's been an amazing journey. But we know each other for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we managed to find this time slot to talk about marketing, talk about SaaS businesses, talk about high performance habits. So when you run various companies, you need to be focused. You need to got your stuff together in order to manage all these different ventures. So this is why I'm really happy to have you here on the show today.
Thanks.
So maybe before we start, tell us a bit about your story. So how did you get to where you am at the moment?
Yeah, well, the past decade of my life, I was always involved in some client-facing businesses and processes. I was part of, for quite some time, 6 years, I was part of Hewlett-Packard's mission-critical team that manages all top-heavy clients in the DACH region, so all German-speaking countries. We took care of all the critical contract situations that involved and were related to the clients. And of course, the passion about making the client happy is just like something that goes back then when my childhood. I was a young salesman. Do you know that in Eastern Europe, on the trains, there are small restaurants. And in those small restaurants, you can, buy some coffee, beer and stuff. And there were a small wagon that you can push through the old wagons of the train. And you can sell some stuff. And back then, my uncle, he owned this restaurant in the train. And he told to me, can you just go with me on a summer vacation and we can, travel through Bulgaria, and everything that you sell with this small wagon, it will be yours. And and at that time started my passion of selling and, convincing people that something is good. And this evolved, of course, in the years to come for, joining various teams, being in the corporate world. But since 7 years now, I'm doing my own business. I have a partner in life and in business, Valentina. She's an amazing person. With her, actually, we started our marketing company 6 years ago, Limacon. And it's more of an outsourced marketing department for mid-size B2B tech, manufacturing, engineering companies. And while doing this, we were pretty focused on the client experience. And as you know, there are two main lines of importance when it comes to making the client happy. The one is the way that you're doing this with processes, with content. And the other main line is the technology, without which we are not able to live today and to perform better. So I'm not just like wearing HubSpot shirt because I like the logo, but we're a platinum partner of the platform, and it's something that we're pretty proud of. Actually, HubSpot or CRMs or platforms like HubSpot are really useful when it comes to managing the full life cycle of the client. And after that, where we met lots of clients, we consulted lots of companies through Limacon with HubSpot or with other solutions, and we decided to create a spin-off from Limacon and found a revenue operations agency or consulting company that actually will be only focusing on optimizing, building, and of course implementing the revenue engine framework into SaaS companies that has potential for hyper growth. So it's something that will scale in the years to come, the future unicorns, so-called. And I'm also consulting a couple of startups. I'm co-founder of an amazing platform called StoryShell that actually is in the AI voiceover video generated industry. And it's pretty amazing what the guys are actually doing as well in the platform, developing some interesting stuff. So that's me. I'm, trying to have hobbies as well, like sports, tennis, football. And I'm also a proud father of two. I have a daughter. She's already 14-year-old. And I have a small son who is about to become 1 year old now in the next month.
Okay, so you have 3 active businesses, 2 kids, and a life, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah, so amazing story. Let's talk a little bit about your businesses. So marketing agency, I think this is, everyone sort of understands what you're doing. You focus on SaaS companies. You're using HubSpot as a platform, integrating all the processes, generating content, generating leads, and so on. This RevOps, I would be interested in to learn more about. So you said you're creating the revenue engine for SaaS businesses. What do you exactly mean by that?
Revenue operation as a term, as a concept, is something quite new, but let's say it comes from the US market, of course, where we have a very dense and very competitive area of SaaS businesses. The idea behind revenue operations is that you cannot no longer understand the functionality of the 3 main teams or departments that are actually shaping the way the client is accepting your product or service and it's feeling good with it. Those are the marketing, sales, and the customer service departments. And I'm pretty sure you know that when it comes to managing a company that is software as a service or just a technology company that just can scale without any limitations, only because of the product, the essence of the success is the alignment between marketing, sales, and customer service teams.
Sure. Yeah.
Normally what happens is this alignment or, the focus on this alignment comes pretty late on the stage of the company's development. So everybody's focused on the product, like product market fit. They need, to test the market. They need to close some rounds of funding. And while doing this, the owner is hiring, some people, some maybe marketing experts, some sales experts. It depends on the concept of the business. Is it a business that has a product-led growth or community-led growth strategy, or it's also outbound sales that involves, a sales department that really needs to be active on closing deals. And everybody from those departments is just doing their own job. Marketing is starting to, as you mentioned, creating leads, performing, proving awareness. So they're just pushing some statistics in terms of, okay, our business was, found so many times on Google, or we managed to reach so many people through our advertising. And then the sales guys are just doing some other stuff and, like managing the pipeline, closing deals or not closing deals. And at the end of the month or, some period of time, all this data or all those efforts, they need to be reported to the owners, and the owners of the business, they need to take some, informative decisions based on that statistics. And the problem is that everything is actually really siloed. So they're creating marketing, sales, customer service silos, and you are not having this, full visibility of the full life cycle of the client.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, which actually is pretty dangerous when it comes to growing the SaaS. And that's why revenue operations says, okay, it's no longer marketing, sales, customers, success. It's all about revenue generating teams. So we're combining all those efforts under one umbrella. And in the future, the RevOps expert needs to understand not only a very specific line of the client acquisition process, let's say a sales efforts or sales process, but he needs to be able to observe, understand, and analyze the full life cycle of the client. So what actually RevOps says is we need to align the processes, we need to align the KPIs, we need to speak in terms of terminology to each and every one of our team members, no matter marketing, sales, or customer service. We need to speak in one language. We need to have one KPIs for everyone, and we need to be able to streamline this process in a technology that actually functions really seamless. So RevOps is, on the one hand, is the processes are the processes that are actually, building this line of functionality. And then we have also the other line, which is technology when it comes to hosting these processes. Technologies like HubSpot are coming, of course, into consideration in action because, CRMs are, the heart of a SaaS business. But there are lots of other tools that you need to consider. What we saw in our work and almost 100 projects behind us already is that there is lots to take when it comes to the founder's responsibilities. As you know, normally a SaaS business is found by a technical guy who is the product mastermind, but he doesn't know anything about marketing or sales or, client acquisition strategies and stuff, go to market. And at any given time, he's the person who needs to start hiring and building an infrastructure of people and, processes. On the other hand, the technologies now out there, there are more than there are 8,000 marketing automation platforms now on the market. It's huge. Sales automation or sales intelligence will be the next big thing. So we're going to see a huge expansion in that area as well in the coming years. So you can imagine that a business founder, he needs to go into internet and start Googling or asking for recommendation and stuff. And this is one of the biggest challenges that we're currently seeing in terms of business development is that you are wasting a lot of time when you start building your tech ecosystem of solutions. Companies are using between, 13 to 300 solutions. It depends on the size of the company, but that's a huge burden when it comes not only financially, but also, for all the people that need to use that. So RevBrains is the name of the company, and we're actually gathering international team of experts, RevOps experts, that will work on projects in terms of consulting all those businesses, how they can, build or optimize their revenue engines. And our ideal customers are mostly scale-ups, not startups, but scale-ups, companies that already, proved their product on the market. They have closed a significant round of funding, and now they need to exponentially grow.
But I would argue it goes further. Yeah? It's not only the technical platform and the tools, which is, of course, very important. It's also the mindset of these people. You mentioned in the beginning, those are tech founders. They are really good in developing a product, in coding, in solving a problem. But what they sometimes miss, and this is what I experience in my business. We mentor CEO of fast-growing tech companies, that they don't have the business view on that. They are very good in developing a product. They're also good in closing the deal, doing the transaction. But then many miss building a relationship to the customer. Many miss this next step. So, for example, I've been a part of various programs, and various mentoring and various high ticket programs, where they teach you certain topics. And the sales process was always excellent. They also did a good job in selling the product. They also delivered. But what they forgot during this period is building a really close relationship with the customer. And then when it comes to a renewal process, then they're losing their clients because the clients also, they got a service and they got some solutions. They didn't really create a relationship to the company. And so they basically went. And this is so important to realize that building a relationship to your customer by using all these systems, using the data, combining this and having one view on the holistic view on the topic really pays off in the end, but you invest so much time and money in getting a customer. Why don't you just keep the customer? Or use the customer to get new customers,
Yes.
When you build a relationship, then it's easy to maybe ask the customer for a referral and ask them to bring you new customers. And many companies forget this. And I find this fascinating to watch, and I ask myself, why do they not think about that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this has some relation to the background, of the businesses that are starting to, are going into this area of product development. The normal background of a SaaS founder business is he's a development guy who has either worked in a big corporation and now he wants, to let go, or they own a software development company that normally does products for other clients. And this is not scalable. So we both know that you cannot scale an agency a lot. So it's always dependent on the people. And everybody in the software development world is dreaming about his own product. So this is the exit where they, can grow exponentially. And if you have the mindset of the previous company, which is, it's a long B2B sales cycle. So you need to, to have and when you close a client, it's actually a long-term relationship because the client, for him, it's more safe and cost effective to stay with you for the, next projects, not to search for other, partners or subcontractors. And they think, okay, now really the focus is to win clients. But the idea of retention, the idea of subscription-based softwares is actually to be, like you're pretty familiar with the bow-tie model. And then when it comes to closing, this is not the moment where you're making money. The moment where you start making money is where you have the annual recurring revenue and it grows. So that's the moment. Till that end, you're actually losing money, but everyone is thinking, okay, the next client is Swan, so I have something on the budget side, but this is not the real thing. So what we want to achieve is to create, and that's maybe something that we will share with you. Actually, it will be the first public announcement of what we want to do after our consulting agency is established. We want to work on a product as well, of course, for helping SaaS founders in the startup phase to be really able to navigate through all these jungle of solutions and processes and really start because I spoke with one friend of mine a couple of days ago and he's like, we had a project for a client of ours and he told us to do this and this. Okay, and I thought, oh wow, this is interesting. I will try to create a product out of these requirements just for myself. And of course, like a good developer, they did this for a couple of days and the product was there. And it's actually pretty competitive. And he's just like sitting in his office with his product and doesn't know anything on the next steps, what he needs to do now. Does he need to go and create a pitch deck and go to some fundings for pre-seed funding? Or he needs to find someone else as a consulting, or he needs to hire a salesperson? What are the next steps? And this is something we want to help with our product in the future.
They're also building a process which they can follow. Yes. When they grow a company, and not only from a technical point of view, but from a business process point of view. Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is very useful, because as you said, I mean, those are remarkable developers creating amazing code, but many of them, they have not had experience in scaling a business, and this is where they need help. And this is where they need support and mentoring. And you can do this by providing solutions, by teaching them. We do a lot of mentoring programs for these guys. And there where we both can add immense value.
Exactly. Yes.
You got some interesting quotes. I hear from you, you're always on the move. You're always looking, and you also say you're always hungry for the next big thing. And I think this is one of the typical signs of an entrepreneur. Because we can never settle, it's, you always need to look for something and create new value and create new services and businesses. And this is what I find amazing on entrepreneurship. Yeah. You said in your LinkedIn profile that you run an experiment, that you met one stranger every Friday for a virtual lunch. So how is this going? What kind of people?
Just a short backstory about that. I'm a big fan of the social capital theory. Mm-hmm. Social capital theory was developed in the US by the professor Robert Putnam back in 1976 or something like that. It's actually a political theory which says that the most valuable asset of a nation, of a country, is their social capital in terms of having trust in each other.
Yeah.
So if you are a strong democracy, you cannot be a strong democracy without having a high level of social capital. And this is, pretty easy measurable. There are lots of statistics about that. But one of my favorites is that, and I'm doing this comparison with Bulgaria, when asked Norwegians, or in Norway, when you be asked about, do you have a trust in your neighbor? 88% of the people says, yes, I have trust. In Bulgaria, those people are around 20% or something like that. So a social capital theory is something related to the bonding and connections of the people. And there is an amazing lecturer from MIT, I think, or somewhere else in the US called, I forget his name, but he has an amazing book called Achieving Success Through Social Capital. And actually, he takes the social capital theory and applies it in the business rules. Mm-hmm. And it's actually something pretty related to building networks. That's why I really like LinkedIn as my favorite network, because it's really actually built on that logic. Maybe the 6 degree of separation theory, that everyone in this world is separated with each other with 5 people, There is an amazing Kevin Bacon, the actor Kevin Bacon? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the biggest connecting social capital actor in the world. So there is a platform, if you can go and see Kevin Bacon's 6 degree of separation or something like that. When you go there and type any given actor that you can think of, a German actor, an English actor, the platform will show to you that Kevin Bacon is related to this person only through 1 degree of separation. So he played with one actor in this movie, this actor played with your actor in the other movie. So this is pretty amazing. And what I've read in this book was a story about a very rich guy in New York, some broker or something like that. And he was pretty big fan of building social capital. And he says to his secretary, I just want for you to book a lunch any Friday, a lunch on 1 p.m. with a custom stranger guy. I don't care who will be that. Maybe it will be your grandmother or the waiter or nobody. I don't care. And he just forgets everything. He puts aside his phone and everything, and he just sits for 1 hour and does lunch with this person, knows him, exchange information. And he was pretty amazed about how from each person you can learn something interesting. You can find something interesting. So I started to do this, experiment. Of course, I don't have, every Friday book time, but from time to time, there are people seeing my About section on LinkedIn, and they're just booking time. And they were pretty amazing people. Most of them are, of course, in some way sales guys, because they try to, sell something to you. But there are lots of young people, actually, so students or other ones that actually want to talk with you. And there is a normal opportunity. You can book time and talk with me any Friday or so. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like this social capital theory. I completely agree. Yeah, meeting new people, you always can learn. And I have this with my podcast. I meet amazing people here on this show. I can only tell everybody who is really looking to expand his network, to use these kind of tools, go on networking events. We run a monthly networking event, a free networking event, beginning of every month. You can find it on LinkedIn. And the purpose of this event is only meeting new people. So we put you in breakout rooms, people introduce each other, you come back to the main room, you share who you met, you share what kind of discussions here. It's an amazing event, and everyone who's listening this, check out my LinkedIn profile, and you can join this event for free. It's an amazing opportunity.
May I ask you something? I'm on the opinion that there is something called the art of networking. It's also the same as art of sales or art of dancing. So according to your opinion, are there different people skilled in doing networking? Because I saw it's something like you're going to, you want to learn dancing, and you go to dancing courses, and you see people that are, attending those courses, and there are lots of people that actually really want to learn dancing, but there are lots of other people that are just there because they're pretty ladies, or, like something else is the main reason for that. And they're pretty stubborn. So you can just see the people that are not fitting, into this type of community. And that's why when I talk about, I'm also consulting lots of salespeople and so on, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to a network event now. We're going to, spread lots of business cards and doing, some networking and win clients." It's pretty hard to do this in the right way. What do you think?
I personally hate these sales networking events, where they only pitch and give you the card. And this is why we don't allow hard pitching on our events. It's about meeting people. It's about, okay, you say what you do. Yeah, so you prepare a small presentation where you say, okay, you're doing this for that kind of group of people, but that's all. We don't allow people doing hard sales. It's all about connecting. It's meeting new people.
Yeah.
And then these kind of people you mentioned, they don't show up, because they only focus on making the next transaction.
Yes.
And this is what we don't want. We want to build long-lasting relationships with people. And that's the difference.
I was asked by a young person, I was a mentor in a program here that, business leaders are, giving their knowledge to young people that want to create, their business and then, of course, be big and successful. And one of them asked me, okay, if there is a networking event, and I'm now, I know that I'm going to meet my, idol there. So there is a huge business person that I need really to talk with him about my business idea. And that's my chance. So that's the network event that I'm going to see him in person. What should I do? What should I say? How should I approach him? And I was like, okay, normally what those people, so the big ones, so the really famous entrepreneurs or whatever, when they go to such public event, they're pretty used to, people coming to them and say, oh, can I have a 5 minutes with you? I just have another great idea. Can I have your contact details and stuff? And they're so, bored about that, but they're doing this, of course, and they're talking with all the people, but they're just forgetting the faces, in the next second. So what I would suggest is that you can go to this person and just be really casual and talk about something totally different. No business idea, just the weather. Maybe find something else in common. Maybe you like sports together. Maybe you can play tennis together, or just be nice and casual. And I think this person will remember this conversation because it was about something else. And then wait for a couple of days, find him on LinkedIn and say, Mr. This and this, I was the guy we were talking about the weather and we just laughed about this and this joke, and he will remember you and then he will be open to talk.
Exactly. Breaking the pattern, you have this pattern of pitching on these events. So you heard 10, 15 pitches and you don't remember any of them. But as you said, the guy who talks about some commonalities, things they both like, or maybe even things like the weather, there's a difference, a difference in this chain of similar events. And exactly. I completely agree. There you separate yourself from the masses.
Exactly. And what I like here is also, yesterday we had a consulting session with one of my clients about LinkedIn. And it's really amazing that people don't understand the value of network, because nowadays, when you want to be, and the term, I heard it from an HR friend of mine, and she said, this guy is pretty employable because not only he has some skills, but he has a very huge, interesting network. And when you are hired, you're not hired only because of your personality and skills, but you're hired also because of your social capital. That's why salespeople, but in a good, smooth, clever way, they need constantly to create connections and to build networks because of this, capital that they can build and of course sell in the future. And that's also related, it's pretty the same when it comes to founding your own business and starting to create a community. You cannot create a business about smart AI building management and you are limited in connection with your potential partners and clients. So you need to start to create this network in order to get the feedback from there. And this is something that lots of founders are just like, oh no, I'm just creating my business and it will sell by themselves, let's say.
I talked to a friend who's running a company in a very, I don't really want to be too close, but he's running a business in a very top technical niche, there's a lot of hype around that. And he plans to go live for this year, And I said, okay, what's your market strategy? How do you launch this product? I don't need a strategy. I said, okay, why? This product is so good, everyone will buy it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this doesn't work like this, you have to network, you have to market, you have to talk about what you do, and you have to understand the client. So many people are in love with their product, but they should be in love with their client, really understand their needs. And then you can create something which works. Then you can create something with skills.
And that's the issue when we talk about marketing and sales alignment in terms of teams in a company that is highly technical or highly specific in the product that they're creating. It's really interesting because we are talking with lots of clients and marketing teams, and they're always complaining that the marketing says, okay, I want to create something interesting, compelling, and in the same time, simple as message to the audience. And they're going to the engineers or the developers of the product in the company that are normally also, which is in some way a bad combination, sales guys.
Yeah.
And they say, what should we need to change in this message? It's all pretty straightforward. If there is an engineer on the other end of the line, they will understand what we're talking about. But that's not the case.
No.
And it's exactly what you're telling. This is a very, very important thing. You don't need to be in love with your product, but with your client. And you need to think as your client. And when we go out there and ask the clients of our clients about their product, normally what they tell is something pretty different. And the engineers or developers are like, oh, wow. Oh, they don't understand what we sell. That's not possible.
Yeah, never expect that other people know your thoughts, This doesn't work. It doesn't work in a relationship, and it also doesn't work in a business context.
Exactly.
Hey, Ivan, it's amazing conversation with you. I think we could talk for hours. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience as a closing remark?
What I want to say is that events or formats like this one are pretty important. Maybe, of course, for the mature audience, it's already something overflowing, or everybody thinks that he's pretty experienced in what we're talking about. But we need to be very active when it comes to the young generation. What I see, and because I have a daughter that is, as I mentioned, 14 years old, and everybody is telling us that the new generation is pretty techy, so everybody is living in the phone, not with the phone. But actually there are, some pretty concerning scenarios when it comes to creating the next generation of entrepreneurs and bright-minded people. So we need to talk about processes. We need to talk about really the importance of client relations and the importance of technology when it comes to, being able to work with it. So what we are trying to do currently with the local schools is to create a program that will teach students what are the different technologies that they're going to face just in a couple of years, like CRMs, ERPs, other stuffs. And I think this is quite important to talk about also the digital ecosystem. I was a lecturer in an event a couple of days ago in front of 30 school people. They were pretty young. But I was like, okay, you can find me on social media. They were like, oh yeah, what's your Instagram? What's your TikTok and stuff? And I said, no, I only accept invitations on LinkedIn. And they were like, oh, what's that? And I was like, find out, create your professional network there and send me an invite. Of course, only 2 of them made this, but it's also, something interesting. So I think we need just to send the message that people like us are no longer, they don't want to be focused only on creating their business or, making lots of profit and be wealthy, but just be also sharing some knowledge and information with the younger generation, which is really, really important.
Exactly. It's giving back, I'm in business for 25 years now. My main purpose is not generate revenue. My main purpose is really contributing, and sharing my knowledge. You rightly said that actually people also experience entrepreneurs. They should know what we talk about. I completely agree. But there's a saying from one of our mentors, it's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. You know, we all know that an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes.
Yeah? But are we eating this apple every day? No. Are we drinking enough water every day? No. These are basic things, you know, but we don't execute. We don't implement this. We don't create habits. And it's the same with the content we talk about. I mean, yes, experienced people should know this. But I would argue that many of them don't apply it. And this is why repetition is the mother of all skills, like Tony Robbins used to say. And this is why I enjoy these kind of conversations. Thank you so much, Ivan, for your time today.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. And I'm sure we will stay in touch and we will have more these kind of conversation in the future.
Pleasure is all mine, Sebastian. Thank you so much.